Hello beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to be sharing with you my summer makeup routine. This is something that gets requested every single year, and in my past few videos a lot of you have been asking for eye makeup tutorials and what I'm using for my skin and all the things, so let's dive into all of it. Now with any makeup video I want to preface that my skin is normal to dry, so you may have to adjust some of the products from what I'm using to what obviously works for your skin because it's going to be different for everybody. I'm going to put in my little cat ears here to take the hair off my face, if you will. Now, for me, I, as you can tell, have melasma. It's not brutal, but it's definitely something that I don't like. So as much as I would love to go makeup free in the summertime, it is just not a reality for me. So know that I'm gonna be using foundation and powders. If you have beautiful skin and you really don't need it, then please skip it by all means, because I think it's nice to let your skin breathe when it has the opportunity. And I do it as much as possible if I can, especially if I'm just, you know, buggering around at home on my off time. But for everyday purposes, for work, I'm putting on a face. So I'm gonna start off with the Skindinavia Makeup Primer Spray. There we are. It has been a long love affair of mine. And I just spritz a bit on. I should say I've also got SPF that I've put on already. Now I know a lot of people like to start off with eye makeup, and I've actually reverted back to just a little bit of under eye prepping, if you will, and then foundation first. So I'm going in with the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I absolutely love this. It's meant to be a little bit more of a very simple highlight or natural highlight, but I've been putting it under my eyes for a little bit of radiance and then also on my chin because I've got a little bit of like, I think it's acne scarring, but I like to start it under my eyes just because my under eyes are brutal. And although my concealer works well, I just find that this adds a little bit of brightening. Like, look at that. So it's got the teeniest bit of coverage too. And I love this little makeup pack. It's been a lifesaver for me. And quite honestly, on days where I really don't want to put any makeup on, this has been my go-to. Now, next on the list is foundation. So I use the L'Oreal Infallible in 405. Believe it or not, that's a slightly tan version for me because I'm so fair. I am a little bit in between colors right now, so I might have to blend it slightly down my neck, but this is what I like to use. So I'm gonna just put, whoops, as that sprays absolutely everywhere. Sorry, Charlie. He's sitting beside me. I'm going to dab it in 4 spots on my face. And we're just gonna press this in and see how I feel that the coverage once it's gone into place. I also just realized I did not bring a mirror down with me as I'm doing this. If you are someone that's trying or struggling to find your foundation shade, by the way, one of the things I recommend if you are looking in a drugstore or Sephora or what have you, is to apply a little bit of foundation on your jawline and then go out in your natural light and see how it blends in. Like, give it a few seconds because sometimes foundations oxidize, and then go outside and make sure that it matches, because you obviously don't want like the Oompa Loompa line between your neck and the foundation that you're wearing. And I know some people really like to pull their foundation down their neck. I'm personally not a fan. I'll do it a little bit if the blending or the color isn't like totally exact. But other than that, I kind of like to leave the neck area alone. Are you guys like that too? Okay, I feel like this isn't too bad. I really need a mirror. Oh, perfect, this makeup palette has one. So that doesn't feel bad. I should say, I do go heavier handed with foundation come the like fall, winter, but in spring, summer, I really try and avoid it. It's just my melasma being more of the core issue here typically. Okay, not bad. So next on the list for me is concealer. And I have been using for quite a while, I've got to say, is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear. This is not sponsored by them, just FYI. I just really like their stuff. So they have the Infallible Full Wear Concealer because I got some dark circles. So what I use under my eye is 320 just because it's a little bit brighter than my foundation. And then what I've been using on my melasma spots to better match my foundation is 330, which is the color Ivory. So I'm just going to dab my melasma spots first, just so it gives a little bit more coverage for those areas because they just need a little extra love right now. It's really just, I mean, I've got it everywhere on my face, but it's more my forehead. Some of you might think I'm nitpicking, but that's just what makes me feel good. And then I'm gonna put a little swipe under the eye of the 320. And then I like to let it sit for just a sec so it gets just a little tacky. And then I'll go in my beauty blender Yeah, so that feels better already for coverage. All right, and then the eye. So I like to, again, use less product, and I think if you guys have been a watcher of my channel for a while, you know I like to use my concealer also as my eyeshadow base. Just figure why buy different products that will essentially do the same thing. So there we are, just covers up a little bit of discoloration, but I love that concealer. It gives such a beautiful coverage. I'm really impressed with it. I have been for ages. I really, really love it. I think I've been using it now for a year and a half, something like that. It's just, oh, so good. And then I want to set under my eye and on top of my eyelid just so I don't get any creasing. So I just take a fluffy brush and I just lightly pat under the eye and by my nose too, just so it doesn't crease in that area. I'll do it on the other side and then on top of the lid. All right, now I tend to leave my face before I add like bronzer and stuff on just to let the foundation set a little bit. I don't powder and set my foundation that way only because again, my skin is dry. And I find if I just put too much powder on, it can look a little cakey. So I try and avoid that and just let the foundation naturally set. I also find this is beneficial for those of us that have maturing skin because again, I've started to get like lines under the eyes and by my eyes and just in and around my face in different areas. So the less powder, the better. So while this is setting more appropriately, I'm actually gonna go in and do my eyeshadow routine that I've been using. So recently I've switched palettes and I've been using Vive, I believe that's how you pronounce it, which is just such a gorgeous warm neutral palette. I mean, look at that. It's so rich. I love the warm browns. I love the sort of golden color and almost like a deeper coral that we've got in here. It's just so versatile. And if I were traveling, this is for sure what would come with me in my travel kit, if you will. So I'm actually gonna start off with this warmer yellow on the bottom here called Chow. And I am going to place this in the crease of my eye. Now, I do have hooded lids. So you can see like there's not much eyelid space between my, like the crease of my eye that kind of folds over the flap of my lid. So I kind of put it in the eye socket, if you will, back and forth. And that's what I recommend to anyone else that has hooded eyes. And then rather than dragging your eyeshadow down, you actually wanna pull it out towards the outer corner of your brow just to make sure that the eye remains lifted. That's what I've found to be really helpful with my hooded eyes over the years. And this shadow is incredibly pigmented. Because I'm so fair, I try and add it in small doses just so that it doesn't look too heavy on me, because I find since this is such a golden color and a little deeper, it can easily go in that direction. I used to go so heavy with eye makeup back in the day. And while I might have moments if I'm going out now, quite frankly, I can't be bothered. I just like something that's a little bit more on the natural side. But look at that color, isn't that beautiful? And again, when you extend the color out this way, I just feel like it keeps the eye looking more lifted, even with a hooded eyelid, because there's nothing worse than watching a makeup tutorial and all these women have these large, fabulous eyelids. I just can't relate. All right, next color that I'm gonna go into, I'm actually going to do as a bit of a combo. So I'm gonna take this cozy shade on the bottom and buff, and I'm gonna mix them in a little bit together. I like that deeper coral. I'm really drawn to it. And I find it so, so pretty. So I'm just tapping it super light, and I'm basically gonna put it with a smaller tapered brush in that same spot, and then blend into my crease again. It's almost like a little V, and just mindful to kind of come out towards the end of my brow again. The color is just beautiful. Oh, reminds me of a lovely warm sunset, you know, which is so nice. I mean, it's nice anytime, but in the summer especially, I just think it looks really beautiful. See, just a little pop of color. All I want, yeah, beautiful. Okay, now for me personally, I could go deeper with the eyeshadow color, but honestly, I really don't want to. I only tend to use the darker colors in this palette if I'm going out for dinner or something like that, but otherwise for the daytime, I keep her as is. So I'm just gonna go back in. I know this one looks dirty. There's no like shadow on it though, with this fluffy brush. And I'm just gonna go softly over the edges just to make sure nothing looks too crazy or harsh. And just blend that out a little bit more. And then I am also going to use one of the shimmer shades. So I'm gonna use this shimmery color here, Glimmer. And I'm actually just gonna put it on my ring finger and then put it on the top of my lid. I think it looks pretty anyway, but again, for a hooded eye, it just makes the lid slightly more noticeable because you got so little real estate up there. The struggle. So this is one of my favorite things to do with any eyeshadow palette or any time I put makeup on. How pretty is that? Love it. Just keeps the eyes nice and open. And then because this question comes up all the time, before I put on my mascara, I use this lash primer called Eye Envy. It is what makes my lashes so long, because I know you guys ask if I use falsies a lot of the time. I don't. I've been using this now for, I think, almost 4 years. I love it. And now that my lashes have grown, I only need to reapply that every like 2 or 3 days or so I don't need to today. But I'm gonna put on my mascara primer. I love this stuff, makes the lashes extra long. And that's the L'Oreal Voluminous Primer. I didn't realize until filming today how much L'Oreal stuff I use. It's a lot. So I'm also using their mascara. I use their Voluminous, like their original. I started using this in high school. And while I have tried other mascaras, a lot of them, this one is just my ultimate favorite. I know some of you like that Maybelline that's in the pink and green container, but this has just been my ride or die for such a long time. Or Lancome's Défoncil is also really beautiful. That's a close second favorite, but I really, really love this mascara. And always 2 coats on top of the primer. Okay, here we go. Eye makeup portion done. Love it. Now my eyebrows are microbladed, so I'm not gonna touch those today. So this is now where I go back and I deal with face makeup. Okay, so here's now where I will tackle bronzer now that the foundation's had a chance to sit. It doesn't feel tacky or anything like that, which is wonderful. And like I said, it's partially because my skin is dry. I really like how this foundation sets as well, but if you have oily skin, you may have to set with an actual powder as well for your makeup, or a really good alternative is to get a waterproof based foundation. I really love MAC's waterproof foundations. They're so beautiful and they don't budge. So that's another really good summer alternative. So for bronzer now, I'm gonna go in with a Canadian brand. This is Annabelle's Perfect Bronze. I really love this stuff. I've had this bronzer forever and I'm slowly hit and pan. And I just like to naturally brush it into the spots where the sun would hit if you were outside. So on the temples and the high of the cheekbone, I like to just put a little. Now because I'm so fair, again, I tend not to go too dark with things like bronzer or even blush, just because otherwise it looks like I've spread mud all over my face and it looks too much. Like it looks cakey really fast. So I add in small doses just to kind of check, or just to see how things are looking, you know? Less is more. You can always add more as you go if you need to, but I like to err on the side of caution just to make sure that things don't go too crazy. I just love how this bronzer blends in. Like, it's so good. I'm sorry if the lighting's inconsistent as well, guys. I'm standing in front of a window. I just prefer natural lighting if I can get it, especially for makeup videos so you can actually see what stuff looks like. All right, now for blush, my current favorite that fell on the floor and looks terrible is my Milani blush. This is, what color is this? Blossom Time Rose. It's a kind of like a coral with a gold reflect in it, which is really nice for my warm skin. So I'm going to tap this lightly in here and again, keep it on the tops of my cheeks. What I also love about the subtle gold shimmer is it acts like a very subtle highlight for me. I don't bother adding highlight or anything in the summertime, just again, too much for me personally. And I know some of you are gonna be thinking, girl, you're already putting a lot of makeup on anyway, but I just don't wanna go further. Sorry if you can hear Charlie. All right, so once this is all on, I'm actually gonna go in and set what I've done just so that the powder and blush can melt into the foundation a little bit better. So I use the Skindinavia makeup setting spray. This is like the best setting spray. This is their bridal version 2. And then we're gonna go in and finish the lips. So a lipstick I have been using recently, that is an older one, so I don't believe it's around anymore, but I will leave linked options for all the makeup, but I will leave a like similar versions to this color down below. But I believe this is a limited edition version by MAC called Burmese Kiss, and it is such a beautiful coral pink. I really love that color. It's not stunning. So I'm gonna use this for lipstick today. It's been my go-to recently, and I know a lot of you have been asking about this. I never thought I would be a lipstick lover, but because I'm so fair, I just find it really brightens my face, and it's just become like the thing I can't not wear when I put makeup on in the morning. And this color is just so beautiful for the summertime. And then I go over it with the NYX Butter Gloss in the color Creme Brulee. Oh, I love that color. Isn't that pretty? Yay. I love it. So fun. And there you have it. My summer makeup routine. These are the things that I recommend. To me, this feels easy and low fuss. I know for some of you might think it's a lot, but this is what makes me feel fresh this time of year. So if you have some summer favorites as well, some palettes that you're loving, lipstick that you're loving, please share them in the comments below. I know we all love to hear about new products, things that we can try out, what's working for different skin types. So share your information or the things that you are loving as well down below. And other than that, I'm sending you all the love to the moon and back, and I will catch you again in the next video. Bye guys.